So, what is it that makes you you? Is it your family, your background, your heritage, or is it the things you choose to do day in and day out? Your job, your habits, your character? It's one of the biggest questions we can ask ourselves. And believe it or not, it's a debate that's been raging for about 2,500 years. At its core, it really just boils down to this, right? Are we defined by our background, all the stuff we can't really change, or are we defined by our actions, the choices we make every single day? It's where you came from versus what you do. And yeah, it feels like a super modern dilemma, but its roots go way, way back. I mean, this debate is not new. In fact, the story we're diving into today kicks off with two students in ancient India who got into this exact argument. They were smart, they were passionate, and they were totally deadlocked. So, to settle it for good, they decided to go ask the expert of all experts. Okay, so let's meet our two debaters, Vāseṭṭha and Bhāradvāja. Their whole argument was about one single, really important word in their culture, Brahmin. Now, for them, a Brahmin was basically the ideal person, the highest standard you could reach, but they had completely opposite ideas about how you got there. So on one side, you have Bhāradvāja. He argued that being a Brahmin was all about your birth. You had to have this perfect, pure family tree going back 7 generations. It was all in the bloodline. Simple as that. But Vāseṭṭha, his friend, was like, no way. He said it's all about your character. It's about being a good person and living an ethical life. It's what you do that matters. You can just picture it, right? They went back and forth, and neither one would budge. It was a total stalemate. So they finally made a deal. They would go find the Buddha, this incredibly respected teacher, and let him be the final judge. Whatever he said, they agreed that would be the answer. And let me tell you, the Buddha's answer was not what either of them expected. He didn't jump into some complex philosophical lecture, no. Instead, he did something really interesting. He started talking about biology. He told them to just open their eyes and look at the natural world. He started with plants, of all things. He said, look at the grasses and trees. You can tell them apart, can't you? They have these distinct markers, their leaves, their flowers, the bark. These are built-in, biological features that tell you exactly what they are. And, he explained, this same pattern holds true for the entire animal kingdom. From the smallest insects, to the fish swimming in the water, to the birds flying in the sky, every species has its own unique form, its own physical markers. You know a bird is a bird because it has feathers and wings. It's obvious. So, after laying out this crystal clear pattern in all of nature, he brings it all home. He turns the question back to them. Okay, we see these clear divisions everywhere else. But what about us? What about humans? And here comes the bombshell. He says that among human beings, those kinds of built-in species-defining markers, they just don't exist. Not in our hair, not in our skin, not in any part of our body. Unlike all those other plants and animals, we don't have inherent biological divisions that sort us into different kinds of people. We are one species, period. And that idea just completely dismantles the whole argument for being defined by birth. If our identity isn't something we're born with, the Buddha argued, then it has to be something we create. He suggests that identity isn't some static label you're given. It's the direct result of what you do. He broke it down in the simplest way possible. What do you call a person who farms for a living? Well, a farmer. Someone who trades goods? A merchant. A person who serves others? A servant. Someone who rules a kingdom? A king. The label isn't who you are. It's just a description of what you do. So here's the big takeaway. We are defined by our karma. Now that's a Pali word, and it basically means our intentional actions. Your identity isn't handed to you. It's something you are forging, moment by moment, with every choice you make. Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating. The Buddha then goes back and unpacks that original word they were fighting over, Brahmana. And to really get his point, we have to look at the word in 2 different ways, almost like a first pass and a second pass at translation. So the first pass is just the conventional, surface-level meaning. From this angle, a Brahmana is a social label. You're a member of the priestly class because you were born into it. This is the definition based on tradition. This is exactly what Bhāradvāja was arguing for. It's a fixed label. But then, the Buddha pushes them to a much deeper second translation. He looks at the word's root, its nirithi. The word Brahmana actually comes from the Pali root bru, which means to grow or to be great. So a true Brahmana isn't someone who was born great. It's someone who has become great through their actions, through their spiritual journey. It's not a label you inherit. It's a state you achieve. So what does this achievement, this path to greatness, actually look like in real life? The Buddha doesn't just leave it as some abstract idea. He gives them a whole series of beautiful, concrete images to help them and us see it clearly. Let's walk through this sort of visual translation of what it means to be a truly great person. First, he says a great person's mind is like the full moon on a cloudless night. It's untroubled, it's pure, it's not cluttered with anger or worry. There's just this incredible, radiant clarity. Next, he uses this amazing image to explain non-attachment. A great person moves through the world but doesn't get stuck on things. They're like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. It rests there, but it never soaks in. It just rolls off. You experience life fully, but without clinging. And get this? He totally redefines what it means to be powerful. He says true strength isn't about physical force. The most powerful army you can possibly have is patience, the ability to endure difficulties without lashing out. Now that's real power. This kind of inner strength then naturally blossoms into deep compassion. A great person, he says, has laid down the rod. That means they've completely given up violence in any form towards all living things. It doesn't matter if they're weak or strong. And finally, the ultimate goal. He says a great person uses all these qualities to cross the swamp of ordinary existence, that mucky place of confusion, craving, and suffering. It's just this powerful metaphor for reaching enlightenment, for finding a state of true, unshakable freedom. So, at the end of this incredible teaching, the Buddha's final answer to Vāseṭṭha and Bhāradvāja was absolutely crystal clear. It's not your birth, not your family, not your background that defines you. It is by your actions, your karma, that you become truly great. And that just brings this 2,500-year-old story crashing right into our lives today, doesn't it? It challenges every single one of us to look past the easy labels we put on ourselves and on other people, and to focus instead on what we actually do. It leaves us with one simple but massive question to think about. So, what actions are defining you?